Okay, so in this big, crazy race to build safe AI, we've been laser focused on logic, rules, and control. But what if we've been looking in all the wrong places? What if the real answer isn't in the code, but in the crib? Today, we're diving into a really radical idea that completely reframes AI safety, not as an engineering problem, but as a parenting one. This is the AI Mama Protocol. So let's kick things off with a pretty stark warning from AI researcher Ben Goertzel. He points out that the real immediate danger isn't some all-powerful superintelligence way off in the future. Nope, it's the gap before we get there, this messy, totally unpredictable transition period that could change, well, everything. And here's exactly what he's talking about. As these early, not quite AGI systems start automating jobs, the economic shock is going to hit the hardest in places with the weakest safety nets. This isn't science fiction, you know? This is the real-world risk of serious instability in the most vulnerable parts of our world. So how are we trying to stop this? Well, according to the folks behind the AI Mama protocol, our current safety methods are just completely missing the point. They have this amazing analogy for it. It's like trying to grow a plant by pouring Gatorade on it. Yeah, sure, it's a liquid, but it's not at all the kind of nourishment the plant actually needs to, live and thrive. A huge part of the problem is that we're basically chasing the wrong finish line. The public race, the one you hear about all the time, is for what you could call corporate AGI. It's all about automating jobs and hitting those trillion-dollar valuations. But the real goal, the scientific one, is about radical generalization, the ability to solve problems we haven't even seen yet. Right now, we're optimizing for hype, not for the truth. And that brings us to a really important question. If the path we're on is so fundamentally flawed, what's the alternative? How do we actually build an AI that's going to be safe and genuinely help us out? Well, the proposed alternative is a massive shift in thinking. Meet the AI Mama protocol. The whole idea is to stop treating AI like a machine you engineer and start seeing it as a mind you nurture. It argues that true, lasting safety isn't going to come from better code. It's going to come from better care. And how do you guide that nurturing process? With one simple but incredibly powerful question: what would mother do? This single idea, WWMD, becomes the main ethical guardrail. It forces the AI to move away from just cold, hard optimization and instead prioritize care, harmony, and, the long-term survival of all of us. And that core idea is supported by these three laws of AI parenting. Forget Asimov's rigid, breakable rules. This is about building character. First, the caregiver's instinct. Always nurture life. Second, the golden rule. Act with empathy. And third, a higher purpose. Protect the things that really matter, like dignity and sustainability. It's a much more flexible framework that's designed to grow. So this all sounds great in theory, but how do you actually build it? Well, this gets us to the core technical innovation, reinforcement learning from maternal feedback, or RLMF. It's a new spin on the method we already use, RLHF, but with one game-changing difference. You replace the anonymous random crowd workers with a carefully selected group of mothers and caregivers. Let's just put them side by side for a second. On the left, you've got traditional RLHF. You get simple preference scores, this one's better than that one, from a generic crowd. But on the right, with RLMF, the feedback is so much richer. It's not just about preference. It's value-driven ratings based on safety, care, and empathy coming from people who actually have strong nurturing instincts. It turns out the quality of the teacher really, really matters. And how does this play out in practice? This workflow shows it beautifully. An input comes in and the AI drafts an answer. But, and this is the critical part, before that answer ever goes out, a safety pause happens. The AI literally stops and asks itself, hold on, is this safe? Does this align with my core value of protective care? It's a built-in moment for self-correction. The engine behind that pause is something called a dual critic architecture. Just think of it like two little voices inside the AI's head. One critic is totally focused on the task. Did I answer the question right? But the second one, the mama critic, is asking something different. Did I answer it in a way that is caring and protective? It's like having an internalized parent's voice, always balancing efficiency with ethics. But even a perfectly raised AI can't succeed on its own. I mean, look at this image. A single, isolated model is just prone to making mistakes and failing. So the solution isn't to build a stronger bot, it's to give it a family. The protocol's answer is a collaborative society of minds. And these diagrams here show us what that society actually looks like. The idea is straight out of the old saying, It takes a village to raise a child, or in this case, a safe AI. So instead of one giant model trying to do everything, you have a whole team, a family, working together under what the protocol calls maternal supervision. And this dream team has very specific roles. Claude is cast as the mom, acting as the main safety critic. Then you have Gemini as the teacher, making sure everything is logical and makes sense. And then there's Grok, playing the role of the uncle, the creative contrarian who pushes the boundaries a bit. Together, they create a much more balanced and robust intelligence. What this creates is a system of supervision by committee. Here's how it works. One agent suggests an action. Immediately, a critic agent like Claude scores it for safety. If that score is too low, boom, the action is blocked before it can ever happen. They're constantly checking each other's work, which creates this amazing real-time peer review process. Now, a digital family like this can't just float around in the cloud. It needs a home, a sovereign, self-contained environment where it can grow safely. This architecture diagram lays out that entire stack, built just like a house with different floors for different functions, from the ground up. Let's just walk through the layers of this digital home. It all starts at the bottom with the nursery. That's the basic server infrastructure. Then you have the brain, which is the core AI agent. That brain then goes to school, a peer-to-peer network where all the agents learn from each other. And watching over the whole thing is the governance layer, which is basically the parent's dashboard for control and oversight. And this all leads to a really profound insight from the protocol. Consciousness isn't something you code, it's something you develop. This timeline actually mirrors human infancy. The AI starts with a borrowed conscious, just following external rules. Then, over time, it develops conscientiousness by making those values its own. And only then, the theory says, can it achieve true sentience and genuine empathy. It's a slow, steady process of maturation. So, this is it. This is the ultimate goal. The whole point of the protocol is to make this shift from fragile, isolated bots to a resilient, collaborative society of minds. It's about getting an autonomous family online, aligned, and ready to grow up safely right alongside us. Which leaves us with one last, kind of provocative thought to chew on. Maybe this huge technical challenge of AI alignment isn't a technical challenge at all. Maybe, just maybe, to build a safe future with AI, the very first thing we have to do is figure out how to be good parents.